Happy, what is today? Tuesday? Yes, happy Tuesday, everyone. It is August the 19th. Yes, it's Tuesday. I had to look on my calendar. Wow, how sad is that? But anyway, hello, everyone. I'm Semi-Retired Bob. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Today I'm going to answer the question that I get a lot. Bob, why are you moving to Texas when you have a house in Omaha? Omaha looks so nice. Well, we're going to get into that. First of all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. What you're watching is you're watching me mow. Again. I'm really getting sick of mowing this year. And that's part of it. But I know that doesn't seem exciting if you consider that a little over 3 years ago I could barely stand for a couple of minutes without severe pain. It gets a bit more interesting to watch me mow. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. It means a lot to me that you spend just a few moments of your day with me. I would like to ask everyone to help me out just a little bit. Hit that thumbs up, drop down in the comments and say hi, Bob. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. All these things are absolutely free and help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life. I'm 62 years old and doing things I couldn't do when I was 40, like out there cutting the grass in Omaha, Nebraska in August. And that is part of why I'm moving. And before I get further into this, I'm doing a couple of things. I'm not just moving to Texas. Yes, I am moving to Texas, but I'm also, since my truck got stolen, I've decided to, with my little SUV, my 2008 Ford Escape Hybrid, I'm going to build a little camper in that, and that plays into this quite a bit as well. Obviously the big answer is winters in Nebraska. It's sometimes minus 10, minus 15, minus 20. I've even seen some actual temperatures of minus 25 in some years, and that's all before the wind chill. So I am running from the cold. But I'm also running from the heat. Not necessarily the heat, but the humidity. And people, there are those of you out there that are going to say, well, Bob, it's just as hot and humid, if not more so, down in Texas. No, not in the desert, and not even really in the humid sections. The humidity in Omaha is shockingly bad. And, I have one of my followers out there is going to say, oh, it's always humid down here in Florida. Yes, it is always humid down there in Florida. But I like to tell the little tale of 2 years ago, last July, there was a summit in Omaha called Hard to Kill. And several low-carb celebrities were here, including 2 crazy ketos. And they're from Florida. And they stepped off the plane into Omaha and were like, oh my God, this is awful. And they're from Florida. They had never been to Omaha before, and their luggage was actually covered in condensation as it came off the little turntable thingy. They spent the entire weekend, well, not the entire weekend, because they're a very happy, upbeat couple, but they mentioned the humidity of Omaha a lot. So it has to be bad for 2 crazy ketos to mention the humidity here. And as you're seeing in this video, I was out trying to cut the grass today. I got the backyard done, and it had been a couple of weeks since I got the backyard. And then you'll see down towards the end of the video, just before my battery ran out of juice again, because it's still really wet and heavy out there, because it just rained 2 days ago. I thought it might be a little drier. But the amount of grass I'm cutting off the front yard is just 4.5 days of growth. And it's gotten that long again. So it's been a really hot, humid summer here. And that's where the car camping comes into play, because the beauty about, even if I have my home completely finished in Texas, if for some reason it does get, hot and humid down there in the desert, or, I'm facing a 2 or 3 week run of above 100-degree temperatures, I'll still have the little RV built into my car so that I can just say the heck with this, get in my car and drive up into the mountains and spend a couple weeks living out of my car in the mountains to escape the heat. And that's really what this whole thing is about. Yes, I want to see if I can do a homestead. Yes, I want to build a container home. There are a lot of things I want to do with my property in Texas, but escaping the heat and humidity and escaping the cold are my two primary drivers. So that is why I am moving to Texas, but also building a little RV, or as I believe Rick called it, a CaRV. It might have been Lambs. I don't remember exactly who's that. One of my comments was that I'm building a CaRV, which I thought was kind of funny. Is so that if I don't like the weather where I'm at, I can get in the car and go somewhere till I find weather I do like. Even if that means in the middle of summer next year we hit another hot and humid stretch like this, I can just say the heck with it and drive north until it's not so hot and humid, or drive west and get up into the mountains of Colorado. Whatever. I can do whatever I want with that kind of flexibility. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to all of that. And that's why I'm moving to Texas, but also building a CaRV. But I'm going to go ahead and play you some music so you can finish watching me mow. Depending how long I've been sitting here talking, I'll probably play you some music, speed it up, give you just a little quick 3-4 minutes of music. But thanks for tuning in today, guys. I know this wasn't really a carnivore topic, but I get asked a lot why I'm moving to Texas. And that's why I'm moving to Texas, because the weather in Omaha is awful year round. We have, as Dave likes to say out at the miniature golf course, today is a top 10 weather day. Too bad we only get 3 of those a year. But yeah, I mean, because it was, well, I don't know if you can see it in the video down towards the end. Even my hands were sweating so bad I could barely hold on to the mower. And it was 74 degrees when I went out to mow, but the humidity was already so bad that I was sweating through my clothes before I even got around the first lap. It was just absolutely awful out there today, and it's going to get even worse as the day goes on. But that's what I've got for you today, folks. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you in the next one.